Other guys, God bless each and every one of you, you and yours. Interesting article coming out from the ukreloaded.com in a major study, massive metallic objects found in the bodies of the Covid-Vaxxed. Going to be looking at that from a couple of angles, and got an article we're going to be covering from the UK Reloaded, as well as exploring what this is really all about and its main objective, which is to get everything connected to the internet with the Internet of Things and the Internet of Bodies. Going to be looking at an article coming out from there, and also another sort of like a piece in and around nanotech in the shots. But just going to run by some particular headlines today, just before we begin that. Coming out from the People's Voice, astronomers claim 3IA Atlas isn't natural after detecting industrial chemicals in its plume. A new paper based on spectroscopic data from the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope has dropped a bombshell. The interstellar object known as 3IA Atlas is leaking nickel without iron into space. So a little bit shocking there. You've got Secure Team as well as Dabu 77 that have reported in on this, as well as some other watchmen as well. Wackadoodle Samoan has brought some of this to your attention as well, relating to this and its sort of like implications for us. Here we go. Sadly, Israeli intelligence agency Shin Bet confirms Netanyahu funded Hamas and enabled the October 7th false flag. A lot of reports and videos coming out around the IDF actually firing on their own civilians. Please do see some other videos on Rumble pertaining to that. But Israeli domestic intelligence agency Shin Bet has confirmed that Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's long-serving prime minister, secretly funded Hamas for years and enabled the deadly October 7th false flag to further his expansionist ambitions in the region. Now, we support Israel here, but not when she does such things as that. Other sort of like really shady news coming out that you're not going to get from anywhere else, guys. Khloe Kardashian joins the androchrome jet set with illegal plasma infusion harvested from young blood. Okay, Khloe Kardashian secretly traveled to Mexico to undergo a clandestine Muse cell infusion, an illicit blood plasma procedure sourced from the bodily fluids of very young children and strictly banned in the United States. Wow. Interesting here when we're talking around whistleblowing and speaking about the vaccinations. It's the beast system that also doesn't want the information that we present to you. Look what they've done to the actual CDC chief, who was fired, okay, recently in a clash over COVID vaccines. The White House has fired Susan Moranes as director of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention after she refused to resign in a dispute over vaccine policy. Trump authorizes arrest of foreign enemy Barack Obama as JAG schedules DC military tribunals. And this is what's also there, isn't it? You put boots on the ground and all of a sudden you have these military tribunals to clear the backlog to things as well. Well, over here in the UK, we're not having the military tribunals, you know, like the court-martial type things. Over here in the UK, they're literally wanting to get rid of juries full stop. So it would just literally be dependent upon a judge to decide your fate. That's absolutely astonishing. Continuing, as we've been saying, around, you know, Donald Trump and the Club of Rome, the first kingdom of the 10 kings. Here we go. What do we say about Greenland? Denmark apologizes to Greenland for its forced depopulation campaign. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has officially apologized for an enforced contraception campaign that was aimed at reducing birth rates among the indigenous Inuit group in Greenland in the 60s and 70s, a very controversial program. Okay, so now you see that all of a sudden you've got Denmark literally apologizing to Greenland, wanting to do this reconciliation as America eyes up this particular place, apparently wanting it for national security regions with Putin and China, you know, sort of like having ships and military in and around there. We're seeing now, are we not, just a little bit of ripples that have come from that. So if you haven't seen our video on our community post, which is titled Trump's 51st State Isn't Just a Land Grab, It's Prophetic. This is what it's about: trying to bag rag and tag Canada, and then trying to go after Greenland, and Denmark literally trying to do some reconciliation campaign to apologize to Greenlanders, all starting to take shape. Interesting article. Someone messaged me the other day about this. Trump meets with Blair and Kushner at White House to discuss the future of Gaza. There you go. That's one to miss. I'm not even going to bother going anywhere near that. But interesting here, Trump apparently to revoke broadcasting licenses of ABC and NBC for deceiving the American public. You know, this is what it really is. It's like the controlled opposition really comes out and speaks out when it just says, oh, we're going to be doing this. We're going to be banning chemtrails, and we're going to arrest Bill Gates, and we're going to hold everybody accountable, whilst they implement and replace with their own sort of like narrative and their own propaganda, just like, oh yeah, we're going to ban COVID-19 vaccines, but then spend 500 billion on Stargate producing mRNA vaccines. Hello. And then it's a case of, oh no, we're not going to be with the World Health Organization anymore. No. We'll have our own version of it because that's a ruined rep by now, and we're going to go for One Health instead. Unbelievable. Continuing with this, all right, it gets a little bit more crazy now, guys. All right, California to label schoolgirls mentally ill if they refuse to share lockers with men. No joke. In a shocking move, California's Temecula Valley Unified School District is requiring parents to fill out mental health forms labeling their daughters as mentally ill if they refuse to share bathroom lockers with male students. It's just inconceivable things that we're literally sort of like having. And we spoke about some of those. So there's some basic articles, headlines for us today. Some of us to be missing, no doubt. God bless you guys. Thank you for being here. Hi there, Asher, Megan and Aaron. Blessings, buddy. Good to see you all. Thank you for joining with us. I'll leave you guys to the fellowship and I'll check back in with you in a little bit. Okay, want to really crack on with this because there's quite a lot of information we have been discussing, have we not, in our video, and I hope you've seen it by now, which is wait, what is in the vaccine? Okay, I'll put that in the description box or the community post there for you, with some other bits to sort of like bookend and support what it is that we discuss. So when it is that we're having our live, we ordinarily sort of like from Sunday through to Friday, we'll be doing lives in the morning, and then in the afternoon I'll be putting videos in that we've already created on Rumble so that you can watch that, and it just adds to the point that we're trying to be making as well. And more often than not, there's at least half a dozen videos, and it is information overload, and there is a little bit of death by PowerPoint, but it's to leave it there for you with loads of clips, loads of evidence, loads of science, and loads of facts that they want to sort of like, you know, stop about. And we've been saying in that video, have we not, around, okay, wait, what is in that vaccine? Okay, when we were banned from, you know, sort of like YouTube 6 times, shutting us all down because we wanted to have this discussion. It's by the grace of God that we're still here now, even been able to address some of these particular things for you. We were talking around the aborted baby fetuses that are in them. We've been talking around the nanotechnology, and that also, you know, connecting you to the Internet of Things and the Internet of Bodies. And we're going to be covering some of that. Okay. But this one is a major study, massive metallic objects found in bodies of Covid-Vaxxed. And we were saying, weren't we, around all of the smart dust that we were getting sprayed overhead, with the aero vaccinating us without our consent, with all of this being put into the food and into the water and in everything else being weaponized against you. This is why we're carrying on in and amongst this, because it's my opinion that they're going to be needing all of this technology. You know, when we go up, the sort of like spiritual realm sort of like comes down, they're going to need to know what's going on in under your skin. They're going to need to know where it is that you are. Okay, and so this is going to be really important to them as well, to be able to work out and ascertain who's who and where a person's loyalty lies. But there also needs to be that element of control surrounding this too. And we've been saying that, you know, with the, you know, body computer interface, or the BSI that they have at the moment, that's literally going on in people's brains, so that all you have to do is sort of like turn some dial with some high frequency 5G or 6G cell towers in around you, and they can literally, you know, target specific parts of your brain. And that's going to be maybe your mood, maybe you're going to be getting angry, maybe you're going to be upset, maybe you're going to be, you know, sort of having a bit of memory loss and a bit of a hazy brain for that day. Maybe that's going to impact your sleeping, maybe your eating, or maybe even perhaps your desire to want to go out and exercise. So it can target you this particular way as well. But it's really interesting that we sort of like harp on about some of this stuff as well, because this also changes DNA. Not to the extent that the real mark of the beast will, but it does have massive implications for that, especially when we're looking at what else it can do to, you know, vital organs with sudden adult deaths and supercharged cancers and the likes as well. So this is coming from the UK Reloaded major study, massive, okay, not just tiny incy wincy, massive metallic objects found in the bodies of the Covid-Vaxxed. An explosive peer-reviewed study, so it's already been peer-reviewed, has confirmed that surging reports of iatrogenic magnetism are caused by massive metallic objects that are forming inside the body of people who received COVID mRNA vaccines. The researchers found that large metal objects up to 70 grams, that's quite a lot, guys, are forming, okay, not just like loitering, but forming several months after the injection. The alarming metallic structures were found in different parts of the body and present severe health risks, the study finds. The discovery was made by a team of Finnish researchers led by Dr. Tamara Tuomin of the Kruununkaha Medical Center in Helsinki. If you're Finnish, I butchered it. I'm really sorry. But it's actually quite nice to try, at least attempt to try and read out some research paper pertaining to an actual doctor, okay, to an actual researcher, as opposed to Bill Gates, who isn't a doctor, nor is the World Health Organization, Tedros Ghebreyesus. Again, none of them doctors. Okay, but quite interesting. The results of the peer-reviewed study were published in the International Journal of Innovative Research in Medical Science. In the abstract section of the study, the researchers write this: a series of cases of COVID-19 vaccine injected patients suffered from iatrogenic magnetism is described. The attachment of massive metallic objects up to 70 grams to different parts of the body is a real phenomenon that may represent additional health risks if such patients are subjected to magnetic resonance imaging. All right. And when we're talking about the magnetic resonance imaging, we're going to bring your attention later to a sort of like picture that I'm going to put in the community post relating to what your Wi-Fi is now literally able to do. It's able to find out where you are in your room because of this. And it will give you those images that I'll put in there for you. And you're like, whoa, that's really scary. Okay. The iatrogenic magnetism phenomena typically appears several months after the injection, they write. More likely, injected DNA plasmids or modified mRNAs translated into the spike protein or into junk peptides formed through frame shifts may engender proteins with ferromagnetic properties or may entrap endogenous iron. Importantly, despite protein has a distant homology to hepcidin, the key regulator of iron metabolism. Redistribution of iron into the brain. Why do you think that they want you to stick those things so far up your nose or other body parts may be causing iatrogenic magnetism? So when you have all of these magnet tests in and around the vaccines and no one wants to be talking about how that is so, here you go. Pfizer vaccine lots started with the letter F may be involved, although we cannot exclude the possibility that Moderna or other manufacturers' injections may also cause this phenomenon. Of course it did. In our observation, the magnetism may resolve spontaneously or when nicotinamide adenine, come on, really, dinucleotide is applied. Read this article for yourself and see how you get down with that. As someone who's dyslexic, I think I almost pulled it off. Not. The findings from this study have confirmed observations reported by many individuals since 2021. During the study, the researchers found that patients in this series demonstrated the attachment of ferromagnetic objects for like spoons and magnets to the skin. In most cases, the objects are attached through magnetism to the forehead, temples, chest, and shoulders. This effect was physically verified by researchers, often with photo documentation, and that's going to be the thumbnail there for you. The metal objects formed typically 1 to 20 months post-injection. This finding suggests that the phenomenon is not caused by residual components in the injection site. Instead, it is possibly triggered by genetic expression or systemic distribution. The researchers hypothesized that injected DNA plasmids or modified mRNA may produce abnormal peptides or spike proteins that exhibit ferromagnetic properties or cause endogenous iron entrapment and redistribution. Going to get into some case studies here in a moment. Really interesting. The spike protein shares distant homology with hepcidin, potentially leading to iron accumulation in tissues such as the brain, which is why they were trying to shove it so far into your noggin. Hepcidin is a key regulator of iron metabolism. So when also you're making the connects with what's being sprayed overhead, guys, the aluminium and the barium as well, all iron metabolism. Why are you thinking this is? And people are also doing these sort of like tests when it comes to food as well, getting magnets up to their lamb or their steak or their salmon and finding that's also being magnetized, as is vegetables and other things too. Should be really concerning for each and every one of us, jabbed or not. Leading American epidemiologist Nicholas Hulscher weighed in on the study, detailing the findings in a report. Hulscher notes that while some cases were linked to Moderna mRNA vaccines, most patients had received the Pfizer injections. Some patients also experienced neurological and cardiovascular symptoms such as arrhythmias, tremors, and cognitive decline. And what we were saying about them being able to target aspects of your brain in that particular way, you know, as well as like, you know, cognitive decline when it comes to early onset dementia. Hulscher laid out the 6 cases cited in the study. So case 1, a 53-year-old male with no prior magnetism developed magnetic adhesion of a 25-gram object to both temples about 15 months after receiving 2 Pfizer injections. He experienced chest pain, arrhythmia, full body tremors, cognitive impairment, and other systemic symptoms. Imagine that, holding these sorts of things from your head like that, and they're just hanging them down. That's not because it's connected to sweat glands or anything of that sort. It's pertaining to the amount of, you know, magnetism that is in these vials circulating in and around his body. And then what? Consequently, he experiences chest pains, arrhythmia, full body tremors, and cognitive impairment. Case 2. A previously healthy 39-year-old female developed magnetism in her forehead and right shoulder at the injection site, also around 1 month after receiving a single Pfizer dose. A 42-gram metal object adhered to her forehead. 42 grams, guys. That's how much is in there. And then you've got technology that has this two-way direct interface, the brain-computer interfaces. So when you're holding up these, I felt that in my own self, and I'm not jabbed, because you can feel in your head something. It's like something's pulling, but it's not pulling. It's a really hard thing to explain, and I can hear myself out loud. But it's so outlandish that that's the whole point, that people will be like, nah, mate. And you can basically get that. I'll give you a perfect example. Right, on my phone, okay, I have lots of pictures of my children. Obviously there's one, you know, that I guess any parent will be able to say, oh, I love this, is one of my favorite pictures of my children, or me and my daughters, whatever. And there is one out of all of them that is by far my absolute favorite of with one of my daughters. And it keeps trying to circulate that every single other couple of days. Oh, do you remember this picture? Here's a memory for you. Deliberately trying to trigger my emotion as well. How does it know? Because I've never said it out loud to anybody here, that that's my particular favorite one. Is it because that's the one that I was looking at the most, or was it because as I was having this interface between that, something in my, you know, neurons were firing cylinders of emotion or memory banks were being activated, and goodness knows what else? Is that basically it? A 42-gram metal object adhered to her forehead, causing her pain. Symptoms lessened with alcohol and intensified during grounding. There's a lot of people that actually say that, you know, I hate to say this, as you know, that one of the best ways to get rid of some of this tech, okay, that's in and around your body is nicotine. It's really gutting because I don't smoke anymore. So maybe that's why I sort of like, I'm getting so ill. Case 3. A 28-year-old female developed magnetism approximately 20 months after receiving 2 Pfizer injections. A 45-gram metal object adhered to her forehead, temple, and chest, but the magnetism faded over time, possibly due to self-initiated NAD+ therapy. Got rid of it herself, but causing her pain. Case 4. A 28-year-old male reported magnetism of a 42-gram metal object to his left temple and rib cage around 20 months post-injection with both Pfizer and Moderna. Cognitive symptoms and visual disturbances during MRI resolved with NAD+, but relapse after discontinuation. You're not seeing this, and this is what's so evil, because the Bible does say around people being deceived when it comes to what's going to be in the mark of the beast. This isn't the mark of the beast. Okay, I need to say this to you right here, right now. It's not the mark of the beast. Okay, Revelation 14:9-11 says an angel will fly overhead and tell everybody on the earth, do not take the mark of the beast or bow down to its image. Why? Because the system and the beast system can't be sort of like trusted to be honest and congruent and transparent about these items. They just can't be like that. Unreal. Case 5. A 32-year-old previously healthy male, spouse of case 2, developed magnetism 2 months after receiving the Pfizer vaccine. A 70-gram metal object adhered to his forehead, chest, and shoulder opposite the injection site, with no improvement from food or medication. Case 6. A 36-year-old female developed strong magnetism, 25-gram object adherence to her sternum 1 month after receiving Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. Her unvaccinated 10-year-old son also developed similar chest localized magnetism, raising the possibility of vaccine-related shedding. Magnetism could complicate MRI procedures, posing additional risks, Holscher warns. However, no mention of this phenomenon exists in Pfizer's internal documents, of course not, or the CDC's vaccines injury database, despite numerous anecdotal reports. So these guys do the science, and on the CDCs, they won't tell you, won't put it up there, and they won't put it out for Pfizer. And yet over here in the UK, Starmer has now invested 1 billion into vaccines. 1 billion. That is eye-watering. 1 billion. The authors call for independent quality control testing of Pfizer vaccine lots. Absolutely. But will they ever get it? No. The phenomenon of magnetism is real and not a no-cab effect, the researchers concluded. So when you have BlackRock that owns Pfizer, and what we discussing about Larry Fink yesterday, you can see that awful connects. Just want to bring on another article that comes in on this. Bill Gates vaccine scientist warns Covid-Vaxxed face spectacular wave of mass death. One of the world's leading vaccinologists is warning that the public that COVID mRNA vaccines were the trigger for a looming global mass depopulation event. Please see our video on Rumble where we've got literally the vaxxer a ticking time bomb. Going to butcher this one. I can see it right now. Dr. Gert van den Bosch, a former Gates Foundation vaccine scientist, warns that the human race is facing a deadly, spectacular wave of hyperacute systemic disease that will wipe out billions of people who received mRNA injections. Like we were saying the other day, the Georgia Guidestones, taken all down. Poof, mission accomplished. Bosch reveals that COVID mRNA shots were designed with a delay that triggers an evolutionary mechanism. He warns that the coming devastation caused by COVID injections will be unprecedented in the history of clinical virology and underappreciated by our public health authorities. Oh yeah, it's all the leading cause of coincidence, is it not? Bosch is sounding the alarm over a looming collapse of immunity among those who received the COVID mRNA injections. According to Bosch, the long-term results of the vaccines will be a widespread global wave of turbo cancer, heart attacks, strokes, and ultimately death. Are we not seeing this, guys? Are we not seeing birth rates being declining, sudden adult deaths and supercharged cancers, let alone the aggravating of other existing conditions as well as connecting everybody up to the Internet of Things and the body of things as well? Bosch warns that the world is heading for a serious reckoning in a new essay. He argues that the global COVID vaccination strategy set global populations up for a more serious illness in the future, triggering a mass extinction event. So it could be all laying very much, with like some time delay switch or laying dormant in the vaccinated at the moment. And then all you've got to have is ouchie Fauci or Bill Gates, we'll get their attention next time. And then one of these bad boys rolls out with another pandemic. Pegasus over here in the UK is the next event, 101, dress rehearsal for a future pandemic exercise. So we're seeing this as a potential thing as well. May not have got everybody, but what could be coming next because of the reduced autoimmune systems and everything else that's already been aggravated and, time, delayed, could literally just wipe out so many people. However, he doesn't call this a prophecy, noting that it's just simple biology. At the beginning of his essay, Dr. Bosch acknowledges that his warning will mostly be met with scorn by the establishment. Many people think I'm an idiot or a conspiracy theorist, he predicts. I understand that if you haven't really dug into the complex dynamics of this immune escape pandemic, it's almost impossible to see that my predictions are actually based on rational scientific reasoning, he adds. On the flip side, with those with whom I feel aligned in terms of mindset and aware of the damage caused by this large-scale interference in population immunity, often calls me a visionary. They seem amazed by how easily they think I can see the future. Well, that label, although being cool in it, visionary, kind of downplays all the years of scientific insights, careful reasoning, and hard-earned knowledge behind it. The theory behind Bosch's warning is that the people who received the COVID mRNA injections have suffered long-term damage to their immune system. And I was saying this to you guys the other day, hanging out with my brother-in-law when we were moving my parents. And this boy had like the worst cold ever. And my sister and their son and my parents, every single one of them did. Okay. They were just absolutely sneezing, snotty. Ugh. It was awful. It was like the middle of winter, yet it was in the middle of the summer. And I was just sat in the car laughing because I didn't have so much as a sniffle. And I just said, how's your immune system, working out now, bruv? Do you know what I mean? Having a bit of banter with him. But it was so true, and he just gave me this look of horror because he knew that, there's that moment when you've just, up. This continues. While those people may seem fine for now, they will be vulnerable to waves of diseases that will emerge in the next few years. Disturbances in natural balance may not immediately transition into full-blown chaos or system breakdown, he explains. Bosch expects this wave of deadly disease to begin 5 to 6 years after the mass vaccination campaign. So it's really interesting, isn't it, that there's this delay in this. And then this has decided just to refresh itself, just to make my life real easy. So I appreciate that. Oh, that is just blanked it out completely. Here we go. Where it is currently most obvious, at least to me, that we are running out of the ability to adapt or remain resilient in the ongoing immune escape pandemic. After 5 to 6 years of increasingly disruptive influences, mainly irrational infection, control measures followed by poorly thought out mass vaccination, the population's immunity has largely lost its ability to effectively adapt to continued viral immune escape. So you see all these guys that are just like all snotty and it was all breaking down. They're getting cold, they're getting bugs and the like. I've had that, but that's only because the amount of like aircraft that literally, no joke, fly over my head. Do you know what I mean? I had like three sort of like civilian aircrafts all in a row like that. Obviously, there's a third one here. Okay, literally almost like touching wings. Okay, and then I'm by the river, it like dips like that, and then like spraying over me just to make sure that it got me. And I'm phoning up the police saying, "Hey, man, y'all want to do something about this?" "Oh no, it was just the aircraft's sort of like jet fumes." And I'm like, really? Like snotty nose, headache, migraine, throwing up violently, spitting out blood. Yeah, of course. Nothing to see here at all, is there? Totally and utterly got me with whatever they wanted to. I'm like, well, Lord, it wasn't by my consent, that's for sure. Continuing this. In this high entropy phase of modern civilization, further viral evolution in highly COVID-19 vaccine populations is the most likely factor to trigger societal collapses. We're seeing that in Japan. Please watch our video on Japan. This non-linear collapse would likely prevent the breakdown of other already strained symptoms. Okay, gonna ditch that particular article because I'm not able to do that. All right, but I want to go now and actually bring in a little bit more of something when it comes to what this is all about with the self-assembly nanotechnology and the sort of like magnetism issues, because this is all basically for the Internet of Bodies and the Internet of Things. Okay, so here we go. So have you heard the term the Internet of Bodies, or IOB? That may conjure up a few thoughts that have nothing to do with the true nature of the term, but it's about using the human body as the latest data platform. At first, this concept seems quite creepy, but then when you realize the possibility it creates, I'm reading from somewhere that really plugs this, by the way. I'm only reading it out to you for intel purposes. It becomes quite exciting, not? Here we explore what the Internet of Body is, some examples in use today, and a few of the challenges it presents. So when the Internet of Things connects with your body, the result is the Internet of Bodies, okay, the IOB. The Internet of Bodies, IOB, is an extension of the Internet of Things and basically connects the human body to a network through devices that are, wait for it, okay, are ingested, implanted, or connected to the body in some way. Let me just read that bad boy out again, all right? So when we're talking about mRNA being put in absolutely everything, sprayed overhead, put in your food, put in your water, put in the vaccine, this is why the Internet of Bodies, IOB, okay, is an extension of the IoT and basically connects the human body to a network through devices that are ingested, implanted, or connected to the body in some way. What were they saying from Davos around having tablets and things like that, that you could literally put this stuff into to make sure, apparently what Albert Bourla was saying, the Pfizer CEO, that you'll be able to work out who's taking what medicine and who's taking this, that, and the other. Wow. Once connected, data can be exchanged and the body and device can be remotely monitored and controlled. So when you've got like 30, 40, 70 grams of magnetism, all right, in your body and stuff like that, that's been put in your brain. You don't think that a particular frequency can change that? I need to read that again. Once you are connected, data can be exchanged. What we were saying about, oh, it's all well and good going to be a one-way, that's a two-way direct interface. And I would really connect this also to Project Bluebeam. All right, where they're going to have these holograms there, you know, trying to mimic and, you know, sort of like con people about Jesus's second coming, and everyone's going to be like, wow, it's so amazing. Okay, please see our video on Project Bluebeam. But part of that also is that all of a sudden that you're going to be able to hear, you know, whichever part of the world you live in pertaining to your faith. So if you're in the Arab country, you can assume that, you know, Allah, whatever, will be speaking to you directly about all of this sort of stuff. If you're a Christian and you're in the Western world, expect that. If you're Buddhist or whatever in other areas of the world, to directly speak to you that way. How are they going to be able to do that without the Internet of Things and the Internet of Bodies and nanotechnology and that being self-assembling? Once connected, data can be exchanged. That's two-way traffic, isn't it? That's input and output ratios there. And the body and the device, which is you now, and that's why they want to put Mark of the Beast and put it in under your skin, can be remotely monitored, which is what this is all about, and coerced and controlled. Isn't that terrifying, fam? There are 3 generations of Internet bodies that include, number 1, body external. These are wearable devices such as Apple Watches or Fitbits that can monitor your health. And then you have RFK Jr. wanting this on every single American in the next couple of years, telling me that this isn't a grooming way when it comes to the mark of the beast as well, of knowing where you are, what you're doing. So that's the body external. The body internal, these include pacemakers, cochlear implants, and digital pills. Hello, what we were saying, that go inside our bodies to monitor or control various aspects of our health. So how is it that you're going to monitor it? Well, I can get how you're going to monitor it. That's quite easy. Or deviantly control various aspects of our health. What if, like they've got with technology at the moment, this all ends up being like Ready Player One? All right, that's Steven Spielberg monstrosity, and all of a sudden they have you're playing a game, and then you can actually die physically in this game. So if you die in real life. Yeah, Gerard Butler did one as well. He did something around that as well. Okay, this is what they're literally trying to groom you up for. What happens if that has a kill switch on the mark of the beast that they end up giving to you? This Luciferian, you know, nanotech or patches that they might have, or the chips or the brains or the whatever technology it ends up being. What happens if that actually has the ability to control as well, kill you off if you're not bowing down, if you're not, you know, doing what you're meant to be doing? So that's the body internal. The body embedded, the 3rd generation of the Internet of Bodies, is embedded technology, where technology and the human body are melded together and have a real-time connection to a remote machine. What is, you know, if people can't find transhumanism in this, or the 4th industrial revolution in this, then really we are so lost. Because this is what it's all been about. Revelation of the method, putting this in under your skin. The next type of surveillance in under your skin. Noah Yuval Harari. Are we not also seeing how this merging of biology and technology is taking place when it comes to the Internet of Things, the Internet of Bodies, the body external, such as Apple Fitbits and watches, body internal, pacemakers, digital pills, and the body embedded, which is the final part of their plan, embedded technology, where technology and the human body are melded together and have a real-time connection to a remote machine. And where's that machine? It's called the Beast, and it's in Brussels. It can also store DNA. So now you see the phasing that we're seeing already. First of all, we'll get people groomed with the body external. Oh, it's great to have a nice little watch to find out what's going on. Yeah. And then it'll be a case of, oh, well, have a nice little pill so we can just see that you've taken your meds. And then everything else, a case of now you've got the permanent thing there. And then, you know, how far away from he causes all, both great and small, free and bond, to receive a mark on his forehead or on his right hand. And what we were saying about things being, you know, sort of hanging off there on arms and other stuff. And they've all been really deceptive in their marketing when it comes to hand implants and everything else. It was all in their left hand. And it was really difficult to try and find a picture with them having that in their right hand, because everybody would have been able to make that connection. But now they're not hiding it anymore. It's quite easy to find some of this stuff in your right hand now. So progress in wireless connectivity, materials and tech innovation is allowing implantable medical devices or IMDs to scale and be viable in many applications. Implantable medical devices. The most recognized example of Internet of Bodies is a defibrillator or a pacemaker, a small device placed in the abdomen or chest to help patients with heart conditions control abnormal heart rhythms with electrical pulses. What happens if you're not being compliant? You're going to sort of zap that in and they're just going to be like flatlined. In 2013, former US Vice President Dick Cheney got his Wi-Fi connected defibrillator replaced with one without Wi-Fi capabilities. It was feared that he could be assassinated by electric shock if a rogue agent hacked the device. Do you not see the sort of like dangers that this could also come with? Talking about kill switches, were we not? Here we go there now. A smart pill is another IOB device. These pills have inedible electronic sensors and computer chips in them. It's almost just like, I feel like I'm just going, my work here is done. Do you know what I mean? Talk about stepping on our point, you know? Unbelievable. Once swallowed, these digital pills can collect data from our organs, none of your business, and then send it to a remote device connected to the internet. The first digital chemotherapy pill is now in use that combines chemotherapy drugs with a sensor that captures, records, and shares information with healthcare providers with the patient's consent, as if, regarding the drug dosage and time, plus other data on rest and activity, heart rate, and more. You just wait until all of a sudden people are going to be so hooked up to this technology that all of a sudden they're going to be like, oh, you're feeling a little bit sad and a bit down. Don't worry, we've already assigned you to have a therapist session today. Do you know what I mean? You just wait there now. Smart contact lenses are being developed that integrate sensors and chips that can monitor health diagnostics based on information from the eye and eye fluid. So this smart goggles that the old Bill have, all right, I'm with MWA on that. I'm just going to say it and put it out there. Okay, having that, and when it comes to the facial recognitions, Annie over here has to literally give up her sort of like iris scan just to get into work. One smart contact lens in development aims to monitor glucose levels that will hopefully allow diabetics to monitor their glucose levels without repeated pinpricks throughout the day. You see how they sell it with the dangling carrot like Elon Musk, and oh, this guy can do Twitter feeds and posts just with his brain, and he can play Donkey Kong, you know, with no hands or anything of that sort. How they sell this particular technology. And what have we been saying this week around those that want to get involved in this technology? You've got Elon Musk with Neuralink. Most people are like, yeah, that's old news, man. But did you know about Sam Altman's also got a company with brain chip? Did you know that, you know, Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates are also heavily involved in brain chips, Synchron? Did you know that Peter Thiel is also funding a lot of this also? There you have the tech giants of the world, all of them vying for this, brain chip, because they were told, right, we'll let you have your Facebooks, we'll let you have your Twitter, we'll let you have all of this, make your billions, and then you need to be giving it back to us for what we've got going on with our agenda. And look what we're seeing now. Having so much of it, they're able to give away billions. So taking it up a notch is the brain-computer interface. Hello, saying that, weren't we, guys? Where a person's brain is actually merged with an external device for monitoring and controlling in real time. Two-way traffic with our technology, having this sort of like pull on our brains almost. This is how they do it. This is the science. It's not rocket science either. The ultimate goal is to help restore function to individuals with disabilities. Give over. By using brain signals rather than conventional neuromuscular pathways. Not falling for that at all. But not all Internet of Body use cases are for healthcare reasons. Bioengineering company Biohacks, really? Do you know what I mean? That's the way to get everyone's trust in it. What's your company called? Biohacks? Yeah, no thanks. Okay, Biohacks has embedded chips in more than 4,000 people, primarily for convenience. In one widely reported example, 50 employees of 3 Square Market agreed to have an RFID microchip the size of a large grain of rice, similar to what's embedded in pets, to be able to identify and locate them when they are lost. Okay, and what's really interesting over here in the UK over the last year, the government has literally been turning around and fining British families and homes if their pets or their cats or their dogs aren't microchipped, because they wouldn't want to be hunting down, do you know what I mean, their own without that, and they wouldn't want to go chasing some dude when it's actually a cat or a dog or whatever. All right, and finding them quite considerably. That was all a way to groom everyone into that. But it's also a good way to have some of that technology that's also, could our pets be spying on us, giving real-time data? Is that also what's there? And then even when, you'll be able to find out where your cat goes at night if you go to them, whatever. And if they are lost, you might be able to find them reasonably able to triangulate their position relatively well, but not pinpoint it to, a real sort of like by the centimeter. But really, this chip allows his employees to gain access to the building without a key, pay for items with a wave of their hand at the vending machine by deducting the amount immediately from their account, rather than use money and log onto their computers. How lazy do we have to be as a civilization? It's like, come on then now. Come on then now. All grooming us with the contactless. And then now that you take away the contact, you know what I mean? It's all in there. What's going to be happening when you can't buy and you can't sell? And it says, no, sorry, pertaining to your social credit activity and your allegiance and your faith. No doubt there'll be perks also for people grassing up their neighbours. Are there some Christians over there? Oh, I saw Joe Bloggs. He didn't bow down to the statue when he walked past. Oh, great, thank you. Here you go. Here's some credit. Here's some, extra, scratch for you. The situation of US Vice President Cheney getting a defibrillator not connected to Wi-Fi for security reasons illustrates one of the biggest challenges faced by Internet of Bodies technology: how to secure the devices and information they collect and transmit. And this is it. This is the thing. I'm like, really, guys, do you not think that your technology as it is not doing a very good job of keeping your data protected? When it wants to spy on you, when it wants to hack you, track you, trace you, try and get to know you, you not think that this is when, you would want to exercise a little bit of common sense? Nah, man. If that's what that can do to me externally, I would hate to give it access to me internally. When it can turn on your camera, when it can turn on your microphone. Unbelievable, let alone the hacking capabilities as well. People walking around like zombies because they got some, dude behind a computer screen literally monitoring and doing everything of that sort. That's what they're literally doing to me right now already. I can't make videos because it turns off everything. It's remote control accessing that. And what happens if that was connected to my, my body, limiting my arms and my movements, my walking or whatever? Could that turn around to me and then, you know, like some really dodgy, you know, James Earl Jones sort of like guy, you know, movie Conan, where he just like looks at some woman, says something, and she sort of throws herself off a building? Is that what it's all going to get down to? See the dangers pertaining to this. Privacy is also of paramount concern, like we have that already. Why would you want to proceed and give them more access? Questions about who can access the data and for what purposes need answering. It's the same thing that they're doing with children. Oh yeah, we're all about protecting the children with the online safety bill. So say goodbye to your, you know, anonymity, your username, your avatar. We want to see your face. We want to find out who you are and where you are, because data is so gold to these guys. And when you have the sensors that you get fined £1,000 for if you do not comply with that sensor, okay, well, they take so much personal information, that information that they use against you, putting you on lists. For example, a device that monitors health diagnostics could also track unhealthy behaviors, not just healthy behaviors. Oh, well done, dearie, you did your 2 miles a day walk. Will health insurance also companies be able to deny coverage when a customer's IOB device reports their behavior? A cochlear implant could restore hearing, but it might also record all audio in a person's environment. Will that data remain private? Come on. As Internet of Bodies tech grows, regulatory and legal issues will have to be resolved and policies built around the proper use of the technology. And then you just wait until you get the Elon Musk saying, oh yeah, we're really summoning the demon with AI. And then he becomes the massive regulator of it. You get the same idiots come out and saying, yeah, it's a bit dangerous. Oh, because you've said that now, we're going to give you the whole market. Really? No one else thought that was deliberate on their part. Okay. Want to take a little look at our final article today. All right. And it's coming from Anna Maria Michalcia, MD, PhD, nanotech in the shots. These are some doctors. Beg your pardon. There are some doctors who claim that there is no nanotechnology in the vials, just cholesterol crystals. I beg to differ, she says. Others continue to dismiss live blood analysis and that only hematologists, whatever, should look at the blood. Most are clueless about looking at nanostructures, and what you do not want to see, you dismiss. She's saying, I'm reposting the images. I put this in the article for you from Life of Blood, a group of anonymous researchers with microscopes who have found remarkable anomalies in the Vax vials and in live blood analysis. This, my friends, are not cholesterol crystals. This is just another source I'm posting that confirms abnormal findings all over the world. You make your own mind up. Like this doctor says, there are people who wish to control the narrative elsewhere. These microchip-like structures that have the complexity of alien space stations are not natural, and they most certainly are not accidental contamination. For those who just want the short story, here's the picture of one drop of a New Zealand Pfizer's Comirnaty vaccine under a cover slip, or after it was inadvertently heated lightly and viewed later the same day through dark field microscopy at low magnification and projected onto a TV monitor. I don't know if that's seeable. There you go. Telling me that's normal. Okay, I'll put this article in there for your attention, guys. The long story goes like this. I have a background in medicine, mathematics, and physics with extensive phase contrast microscopy experience. There's a professional practitioner. People who were injured by the Pfizer jab wanted help. At this time, I didn't have a microscope. Several doctors have come forward in other countries to report strange observations. Dr. Zandri Botha from South Africa showed the uniform strange round circles. LA Quinta Columna showed what happened to be microchips and other formations. 2 other doctors talked about parasites and, of all things, hydras. This is not my first rodeo, having previously experienced how those of us that critically look at vaccine situation are heavily infiltrated by persons wishing to divert and control the narrative. I thought, well, what is real? What is put forth in order to lead questioners to look like fools? This is what they do. They put us all out as being, you know, sort of like tinfoil hat wearers, that we're the conspiracy theorists because we're asking the questions and we're showing them the evidence. So when I put the videos in for a community post, guys, please can I implore you to watch them, because that's where the evidence is. It's not me just reading it out. It's these professionals literally showing you it for themselves. This continues because of my previous extensive microscopy experience. Learning to use a dark field microscope didn't take a huge amount of education. I took a 12-week course on live blood analysis using the most sophisticated dark field microscope and camera that my money could buy. It magnifies up to 4,000. After having a close look at the blood of dozens of vaccine-injured people, patients started asking me about certain round and square bright yellow formations in their blood as seen on the screen. Okay. Sorry guys, I know this is really crap, all right, but okay. You can see this for yourself. All right. So these are some of the things that are actually being placed in and around the blood. So when you get, you know, professional practitioners literally turning around to you and saying, you know what, this is what we've literally finding in the vaccines, you really want to pay attention to sort of what it is that they've got to say. Okay, really important that we discuss this still. Sorry, my here you go, reloaded. Okay. So we've looked at today, guys, we looked at the major study where massive metallic objects found in bodies of Covid-Vaxxed. Just want to see what you guys are saying, and then just want to read out some scripture and see where we are. Bless you guys. Thank you for the pleasure of your company. Woo! Terrifying, man, when you think about it. Thank you, Asher. Thank you, Asher, Megan, for being here. Bless you guys. Thank you for putting our Rumble channel out there. That's where you'll find all of these videos, but I'll put a post in a bit. Hi there, Jonathan. Good to see you. Yeah, exactly. Cher saying, I swear many times my phone suggests exactly what I was thinking. I've wondered for a few years now, all the chemtrails. Exactly. It's all the smart dust, isn't it? It's all of the fog vid, as I call it. You know, you get blankets of that over the Christmas period, the spraying of chemicals everywhere, things that you're putting into your food, they're putting into the food, into lotions, into creams, into dental floss. This is why we're putting it all together, because this is what's literally going to be, you know, controlling humanity. And they're saying that you're not going to need your phones anymore because you'll be plugged up already. It'll be a walking, talking, you know, sort of receiver. Unreal. Hi there, Sylvia. Bless you. Yeah, there's a lot in this, Sylvia. You might want to go back and just, you know, have a little look-see. Hi, Sub-Zero. Good to see you. Yeah, the whole tech has divided and conquered many. We have our Father and patiently or impatiently await his return. He has already conquered all. Absolutely, he has. This is where we read in Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever one sows, that will he also reap. For the one who sows to his own flesh will from the flesh reap corruption. But the one who sows to the Spirit will from the Spirit reap eternal life. Proverbs 10:9. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but he who makes his ways crooked will be found out. So whilst they're trying to poison this and do this without your consent, they will be found out. They will be held to account. God will repay. Vengeance belongs to the Lord. Proverbs 12:22, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who act faithfully are his delight. Romans 12:2, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. And just lastly as well, these guys that literally serve the father of lies, John 8:44, you are of your father the devil, and your will is to do your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks out of his own character, for he is a liar and the father of lies. It is so important, guys, that people are really aware of this, that there's no truth in the enemy, and these that serve him, and they have the desire to do his bidding, his will, his agenda, waging war on the image of God, waging war on the church and God's children in every which way that they can. Really interesting article there for us to be looking at around these massive metallic objects found in the body of the Covid-Vaxxed. But that's also sadly happening to those that are unvaxxed, because when you can put this overhead in spray form, Aerovax, mRNA, and then you put this into the food, the water, the hands, the lotions, the creams, the dental floss, etc. And these are the only things that we're finding out that they're putting this in. Doesn't give many people a chance, does it? But it comes down to, for me, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And if they poison me, then that's on them. That's not on me. That's not by my willing participation that I gave them access to me. And God knows each of our hearts. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for the pleasure of your company. Thank you to our mods and our team here for keeping this a real safe space. I will put this article or the couple of articles in there for you, because I know I butchered a few of the names. Okay, but please take the time to have a little read of that. And then afterwards, in about 10 minutes, I'll put a community post up with some videos that support what it is that we're really trying to say to you. Okay, and tomorrow will be my day off. I take Saturdays off, and then we will be back Sunday, should we still be here. I shall look forward to seeing you guys then. All right, take care.